Welcome to the BumbleKast. I'm your host, Ian Flynn, the Bumble King, and joining me as always is my Bumble co-host, Kyle, JCRB Krause.
Well, don't sound too excited to be here, Ian.
It's been a week, my friend. But first, how are you?
I am doing okay. I understand it has been a heck of a time lately. So I've just been over here playing Super Mario Brothers 35. So
you're playing 35 Marios at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, they came out with Mario 64. They came out with Super Mario Brothers 3, or 1, 2, and 3. Then they skipped all the ones in between and jumped right to 64.
Okay.
So, but now they're going back and I guess they're filling in the gaps. So now we have Super Mario Brothers 35. It's kind of weird.
As long as they're filling in the gaps. You know,
eventually.
Completionist in the soul.
Eventually. It's kind of weird, though, because they haven't gone back to any other ones. 35 is the first time they've gone back to. It's like, why 35 specifically?
Well, I jumped to 64, so.
True, good point. Obviously, it's celebrating Super Mario's 35th anniversary. It's a special release for Mario's 35th anniversary. Nintendo put out a free Battle Royale style Super Mario Brothers game. It is the original Super Mario Brothers, where you play against 34 other people at the same time and send enemies at each other by defeating them. And it is a heck of a good time. It's a lot of fun. I have not had this much fun with a Battle Royale game ever, actually. And so I'm really enjoying it. I think a lot of it comes down to the fact that I know Super Mario Brothers so well because I've played it so much that to have the familiarity of the game, but also have it be able to be changed at a moment's notice is just so much fun to me. It puts a whole new spin on it, but it's still a nice, comforting, familiar presence that I've always loved. You know, it's kind of that it's like the best of all worlds for some reason. It's so good. I love it. It's a very simple game. It's free for anybody who's a Nintendo online service subscriber. So it's not a particularly in-depth experience, but it's so good. It's fun, and I like it a lot. So have you had the chance to play it at all yet, Ian?
Not yet. I have been busy.
Yeah. What's been going on your side?
Well, we recorded the last show, and as I said, I was going to be doing Thanksgiving dinner, but the following Sunday, my uncle lost his battle with cancer.
Mm-hmm.
That following Monday, I had to cook Thanksgiving dinner, which is the most intensive dinner I have ever cooked. Meal. Perhaps any physical action most intense I have ever done. But it came out all right. I put together a darn good bird, Kyle.
Hot dang.
And then the rest of the week reached a major milestone in one project, potentially another milestone in another project. I've yet to hear back on approvals. Did a video conference that locked in a new secret project that is very #KnowingSmile. And that's on top of the usual laundry and groceries and day-to-day life. So now that we've... Oh, and finished a script on another secret project. So now that it's the weekend, I get to relax by doing my other job, answering your questions here on the BumbleKast. So apologies if I don't have the same vim and vigor as previous episodes. Just, I'm kind of done with this week. So yeah,
this month, this year, I think we're all done. I think we're all just done. I don't blame you. I'm sorry to hear about your uncle. Also, that's my condolences to you for that.
Thank you, sir.
I know you've been. I know that hit you. So, but We're here. We're ready.
We
are here, and we're ready to answer some questions. So let's go ahead and jump into it.
Well, first off, we need to remind people just how this works.
Yes.
If you want to have your question answered here on the show, email us at BumbleKast@yahoo.com, tweet to us at BumbleKast, comment on any of the YouTube videos. Is there another way that I'm forgetting about? Unless you are a patron. Then you can post anywhere on the Patreon page, message us, whatever. Use the Q&A channel on the Discord. If you want to have your question jumped to the front of the line and get priority, you can either become a $5 patron over at patreon.com/BumbleKast or send $6 our way via Ko-fi. That's ko-fi.com/BumbleKast. Going into this, if we have covered your question in a recent episode, we're not going to do it again. Please check the last few. We write out all the questions in the description below for your convenience. If it's covered on one of the FAQs on bumbleking.com, not going to answer it here because we already answered it on the FAQ. There's plenty. Go read. And if it's pertaining to details on what would have happened or what might have happened in the old Archie series, that's going to be covered in Lost Hedgehog Tales. I'll get to it when I can. And that's not a matter of when I find time. It's a matter of other stuff. So eventually. Also going to apologize straight up for any sniffing and snorting on my part. I believe autumnal allergies have started to kick in. So I'm definitely, my tongue is swollen. It's been a hard week. It's going to be a heck of an episode. Yeehaw. Let's get to the priority Q&A.
Yay, allergies. I'm kind of there with you. I hate them. Seasonal allergies. They suck.
Curse you, other life on this planet invading my nostrils.
Yes. So terrible. It is. It really is. It sucks. But I'll try and edit out what I can. So, we'll see. Priority Q&A time. We're going to get started off with one from Scruffymatt. Hidely ho, bumblerinos. What are each of your favorite Sonic racing games? This includes the entire Sonic back catalog. So the Drift games, Sonic R, the Riders games, and the Sumo racing games. And the Rivals games too, I guess? Do those count as racing games?
I would count them as racing games. I mean, that's all you really do. I mean, there's boss fights and there's challenges, but the core mechanic is beat the other guy to the end of the race track. For me, my heart will always belong to Sonic R. I know it's not a good racing game, but to me it feels the most Sonic-like racing game. And the soundtrack is just beyond description. It is happiness given tonal form.
Yeah.
I think the only racing game that's really come close to Sonic R's feel for me is the Rivals series, because you're actually using the characters and their abilities in the racetracks, which isn't to besmirch the Riders or the Sumo series, because those are good racing games. Zero Gravity especially is my favorite out of the Riders. Mm-hmm. All-Star Transformed is real high on my list just because I got to play as Vice, and that Skies of Arcadia track is just But for me, it's going to be Sonic R, just out of pure bias.
I agree with you, actually. As much as I love the Sonic and Sega All-Stars series, they're not really dedicated Sonic racing games. They're Sega celebrations, more or less. Mm-hmm. Sonic takes the lead on the title and has the most characters represented because, Sonic is the biggest franchise in Sega's stable, but really it is a Sega celebration first and foremost in my mind, more so than just being Sonic.
If they were to make another one, if we would see more Yakuza representation.
Probably. Most likely. Probably see an entire stage dedicated to it. A whole track, which would be pretty awesome, actually. Would look pretty good. Team Sonic Racing was pretty good, but I'm not, it wasn't amazing. And I don't know, there's just something nostalgic about Sonic R that, and the soundtrack. It's not a good game, for sure. The game itself, not great. But the soundtrack, I can't deny the soundtrack, and I can't deny that it is probably the most quintessential Sonic game that is also a racing game. So, yeah, I think I'd agree with you, Sonic R. Even though there are technically better Sonic racing games.
Oh, absolutely.
There's just something about Sonic R, like it's a product of its time, and that's not a bad thing. I think that's the way I can describe it. It's like
that's a good summation. Yeah,
it's the product of its time in a good way. So, yeah, I agree with you. Up next from Noni. This might be something Evan has more current information on, but I just remembered that Chao can talk. Or at least they could in Sonic Adventure 1, 2, the Tiny Chao Garden, and the Chao Adventure games. So what happened with that? Sonic X seemed to have the most Chao just say Chao, including cheese. Is this a retcon on Chao? I know I would love to see Chao talking, as actually hearing what my Chao had to say was one of my favorite parts of raising them. Chao is a weird word, and it gets weirder the more you say it. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
See, I would have to go through SA1 and 2 again, but I'm pretty sure that they don't talk anywhere outside of certain circumstances, like the black market and the kindergarten rooms. And there is where I think you kind of get into the nebulous canon nature of Chao World and Chao Adventure and all that. I think as far as I can tell, the Chao that you interact with in the regular world of the games only speak in baby babble and various permutations of the word Chao. But when you get into stuff like the Chao Kindergarten and the Black Market and the Adventure game and the Tiny Chao Garden, I think those are considered more kind of mini game for funsies on the side stuff. Because I don't remember the Chao talking to you in the Chao Gardens in SA1 and SA2. If somebody has, a screenshot or definitive proof that I am very wrong, please, by all means, comment in the comments below and say, Ian, you have lost your Sonic cred. But I'm pretty sure the official word is they just say Chao, and that anything else is kind of more of a side goof.
So they're like Pokemon.
Yeah.
They can only say their name and random noises.
Unless it's one of the ones that don't.
Well, I mean, we'll ignore that. Unless they're robot Chao. Then they speak.
Well, yeah, but Oma Chao is a weird abomination that we try not to think too hard about anyway.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know why Omo Chao became a staple. I don't even understand. Like, I don't know. You need your tutorial character, I guess, but anyway. Next one comes from Off. What's Tangle's house like? Does she live with her parents? Does she ever get grounded for her hyperactive antics? What's she like when she's not trying to keep up with Sonic and helping to save the world from Eggman's current plot?
Tangle, I imagine, has just kind of like her own little apartment somewhere within Spiral Hill Village. She carries on the proud tradition of not having a family outside of herself, cream and vanilla notwithstanding.
Good job.
So, no, she would never be grounded. And what she would be like is basically what we see her in the beginning of the Tangle and Whisper miniseries, is just her rip snorting and raring around her hometown, being adorable if slightly obnoxious because she just cannot be contained.
I like to think that, well, I don't like to think this, but at this point I'm convinced that every parent dies in childbirth in Sonic's world. Almost every parent.
Well, you brought up Pokemon. Maybe it's like that at, the preteen age, like a Pokemon trainer. You just set out into the world and stake your own claim, because
maybe
as far as the games have established, there is no actual economy or political structure. It just kind of seems like everyone is a universal communal anarchy.
It's so weird. It's so weird. They just, I guess they just didn't want to think about it, so they didn't even bother. They're like, no, it doesn't exist. Don't worry about it.
That's the correct answer, but my job is to think of a way around that.
I know, but still.
Like, you can't even call it like socialism or communism because that requires some form of social structure.
Yeah.
And there doesn't seem to be any. So
there was a mayor in Sonic Boom. I mean,
yeah, that's like Boom.
I know Boom is its own beast. You can't really count it, but that's like the only time I can think of. I mean, there was the King in Sad AM, I suppose, but
that's Sad AM.
He was gone, and that was Sad AM. That's another different thing, but.
I mean, nobody batted an eye at the King persona that Eggman took on during one of the Riders games, or King Dodonpa, but they also seem to be fully aware of Planet Donpa as some kind of hyper-advanced racing manufacturing planet, and that's like, okay, fine, sure, that's a standard now. Everybody knows about Planet Donpa, of course. Just when you get the one square peg hammered into the round hole, they give you another one.
Yep. Never fails. All right. Here's the one from Digamma. If one were to make a reading order for IDW Sonic, where would you say the best spot to put the 2020 annual would be? I know for those reading the trades, the annual is going to be included at the start of the trade that has issues 30 through 32. So that means they're going to read it between 29 and 30. But part of me feels like it would be more thematically relevant to read it earlier, before the crisis is resolved, between like 24 and 25 or 25 and 26. Of course, between 23 and 24 would be the most chronologically accurate placement, but that undercuts the shock of the reveal in 24 of Jewel having already been, spoiler alert, zombified.
Here's the thing. The stories in the 2020 annual don't all fit neatly into one place. And I actually sat down and went through the books again to research this. So if you really, really want your nitpicky order, this is the best I can give you. The Metal Sonic story is best placed somewhere after Sonic number 15. It's pretty open-ended, so it could fit in a lot of places. Dr. Starline's story with Eggman and the Egg Cave has to happen somewhere before Sonic number 18. That would be where the first seed of doubt is planted, and then things just get worse from there. The story starring Night the Owl, which I love that name, it's kind of before, but also during, and then sometime after the storyline in Sonic number 19 and 20. Jewel's story has to happen somewhere between the 21 to 23 arc and number 24. The Chaotic story has to happen somewhere between Sonic number 20 and 21. Again, 21, 22, 23, they all kind of count as one story because they all happen at roughly the same time. And therefore, big story has to happen sometime after Sonic number 24. So ideally, they should all be kind of chopped up and sprinkled throughout the trades, but that's kind of crazy, and I don't know how that would work with page counts. So that's your reading order if you want to put it together yourself. How IDW handles it, I don't know.
Oh boy, reading orders. It's always fun. Annuals. It's weird. It's weird to have annuals for the Sonic book. That's a new thing.
Yeah, but it's fun.
Yeah, I'm not complaining. It's just different. I like it. Andrew D is up next. I'm a bit confused on what is considered an idea from older media or a new idea. For example, the Sonic video game series introduced the concept of metal counterparts with Metal Sonic and Metal Knuckles, but the Archie comics introduced Metal Tails and Metal Amy. Does that mean they could potentially return in the IDW comics, or would they be off limits? I'm assuming special cases like this might allow for them to return with a redesigned look, like with E-107 Theta, who returned with a new look. And speaking of Theta, did you pick Theta as a hint to say certain characters from Archie could return if they're redesigned, especially ones who were seemingly previously off limits?
To the former example, Metal Tails and Metal Amy are derivative of Metal Sonic and Metal Knuckles.
Yeah.
They are not wholly original ideas. They are built off of what the game canon established. So I would think that they could appear in some fashion in IDW Sonic, just not necessarily in the same design as the Archie ones. I don't remember Metal Amy off the top of my head, but it's been a while.
The only one I could think of is from the second crossover, Mega Man crossover, but
that's Rosewoman.
But that's not exactly the same.
Yeah.
Technically not Metal Amy, but
I'm not sure exactly what you're referencing with E-107 Theta because it's been a pain in the butt. I think he first got name dropped as a teaser idea within the Mobius 30 Years Later stuff. And I wanted to follow up on that at some point, except that entire line got brushed off the table first by Sega and then by paranoia over potential lawsuits. And it extended so far as they didn't want me referencing that call sign at all for fear of potential linkage to the previous mentioning. I don't think I've brought up E-107 Theta since. Or did it show up in post-reboot? Was that the piston arm thing? God, it's been so long. If I did it there, that was probably kind of test the waters to make sure that we were free and clear to do it. If not, if it was like E-108 and what comes after Theta. Point being, I don't remember what all I've done with that call sign, so I wouldn't pin too many expectations on what its usage means one way or the other. Because I obviously have not retained it myself.
Iota?
Would it have been Iota?
Was it Iota after Theta?
Because I know I did a set of 3 that were based off of the SSSSS squad out of Adventure.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. But apparently there was a Metal Amy. She was in the Secret Freedom Fighter / Team Freedom story.
She was?
I guess. She didn't have legs. It was just her flying around with jets.
Huh. Again, it's been so long since I've had to keep up with that continuity. When Lost Hedgehog Tales finally comes to be, I'm going to have to do so much freaking research just to remember what I did.
You have to read the whole book again. Oh. Oh.
No escape. The ride never ends.
Nope, it's true. Next up, we got one from Chris A. What would Mimic role be if Archie Sonic wasn't canceled?
Hadn't really thought that far ahead because he was an idea that I wanted to use, but there never was really a good place to use it. Power set would have been the same, hopefully, with the whole metamorphosis and being a assassin infiltrator type deal. But I had a rough plot idea, but it wasn't really hinging on anything else. So the core idea of the character was there. I just didn't have any way to use him. And he found much better life in IDW Sonic.
Alrighty, next one is from Saturn Flicky. What measures are taken to prevent inaccurate fan info or translations getting into the encyclopedia? For example, wikis calling the Sonic 2 monkey and eagle Walkie and Locky, which are inaccurate transliterations and don't even match the English settings in the TV game Genja Gallery book.
First off, I'm not just taking from one source. I am looking at as many sources as I can to make sure that I'm not accidentally getting misinformation. If I can get back to the original stuff, I do that. Compare multiple wikis, not just Sonic wikis, and pull up videos and all that. I'm doing as much research as I can on my end. All of this has to go through Sega. They have to fact check and approve anything that I put in. And if it's anything like the other projects I've done with Dark Horse, they'll probably bring in somebody else to come up behind me and double check me to see if anything is inaccurate or if I goofed somewhere. So there should be at least 2 or 3 levels of fact checking here. And if anything makes it through, then I guess it's meant to be there because darn it, we tried.
Have you had any interviews with any creators or anything, or is this stuff you're having to kind of look up and research just on your own?
This is all on me.
Okay. I didn't know how much of if you had access to talking to any of the creators at all. Anyone from Sega, either former or current.
Now, this is all pretty much factual information that has been released or established. This is a chronicling of the material that's out there.
Okay. Well then, still, I'm looking forward to it. Puppetry Bobbulous is next. Someone at Sega manages to get permission to revive some old licensed Sonic material, but has a caveat. They are specifically told to avoid the baggage-focused mess of anything Archie has touched. So no Archie itself, no Sad AM, no Adventures of, no Sonic X, no Sonic Boom, maybe Underground if the higher-up's in a good mood because breakfast was particularly good, but might just as easily get shut down. They come to you and ask, okay, what are we reviving? How obscure do you want to get? Maybe more obscure would impress fans as a deep cut, but maybe you got better interest in reviving something less obscure. What do we go with?
This is for both of us, but my answer is simple. We go back to the original manga with like Polly and Nikki and the Veruca family and all that. I really want to get a chance to revive that in some fashion.
I was like, what is left? I couldn't think of anything. Like, there really isn't much left.
Maybe that French manga that had the kind of prototype to call.
Sure. Yeah. And there was also...
What was her name? Alucion?
Yeah, there's also Sonic the Comic, I suppose. That could be interesting.
Yeah.
I
don't really think of it as that obscure, but I guess it's been out of official circulation for a long time now.
I would say that it's obscure to a lot of non-European
Yeah,
Sonic
okay,
fans.
fair enough.
Yeah. I know a lot of people know about it, but not everybody.
I mean, that might be worth it just for the triumphant return of Captain Plunder.
Yeah. And all sorts of other cool stuff.
Captain Plunder.
But yeah. Let's see. What else? I can't think of anything else, really, unless we go back and revive the old Sonic band from pre-release Sonic 1 that had Vector in it. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Bring back Sonic's Rock Band.
That reminds me. I don't know if I could find the link again, but somebody on Twitter had found this old piece of what looked like promotional art. And it had the Hedgehog family from the manga. Okay.
Yeah.
It had Eggman with the Veruca family. It had an early version of Ray, who was like super round. An early version of Mighty, who I didn't think was that old of a concept. It had Vector. It had the bird character who was formerly Sharps, but had been at that point redesigned and renamed as Max. And it had what looked like maybe a bear and a gorilla character that I have never seen before.
Huh.
And it's like, what is this? Who are they? New material to mine. Tell me more. Gimme. I have no idea what I'd do with it, but I just want to know, Kyle. It's new secrets. They may have never had any art beyond that one doodle because it's like a couple of faces buried in the crowd, but it's new. It's Sonic. I must have it. I must have it in the gray matter. Must file and collect and never use. Must give, Kyle. What is?
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I see it here. Somebody posted it.
Oh, perfect.
I see it. And yeah, that's definitely Mighty. And that's definitely a chonker of Ray. And there's Amy too.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
Amy,
the weird thing.
Amy goes back pretty far, I guess, huh?
But like, I'd have to research it again, but I'm pretty sure that Nikki's sister was an early version of Amy. I know it's kind of muddy because she's like one character and two different characters at different points. The whole era is very poorly documented, at least in the West. So,
oh yeah,
maybe that's after the distinction was made, but that at the same time, it doesn't look like the earliest form of Amy. That looks like CD Amy. So yeah. What is this?
Yeah.
And on top of that, Charlie dates back to that period, but he's absent. Instead, we got this weird bear and gorilla dude. And Max, is he a parakeet now, or is he a cockatiel at this point? Regardless, it's Max the bird who's been completely forgotten because of his hilariously awful design. Just, what are these? Must know.
Yeah, and now I'm seeing the early Charmy, and yeah, I remember that. So, interesting. I don't know. Bring that back. Sure, why not? And finally, for a priority Q&A, we got one from Blue Title Gamer. Well, we technically have two from Blue Title Gamer, but, you know. Is there anything from the Sonic Rivals series you think would be worth adapting in an IDW Sonic in the future? Locations, any concepts like the Ifrit? I don't know how to say that.
Ifrit.
Ifrit? Oh,
yes, he's missing the R.
The R is missing. Okay, that makes more sense. For a few examples, it's a Sonic spin-off series that tends to be forgotten, and I imagine adapting anything from it would be somewhat hard considering not a lot happened in both games.
No, they are fairly self-contained. I don't know if the Ifrit and his dimension need to be brought up again. The locations are pretty neat. They're worth mining to have as locales. I would like to use the future setting, but very little is established, like Onyx Island, which is apparently Angel Island 200 years in the future. I want to explore that. I want to explore more of Silver's time in general, but that was the most interesting and lingering thing for me. Everything else is kind of your standard Sonic stuff, so it's neat material, but it isn't as immediately engaging as that little tidbit, at least for me. But some of the boss robots and some of the locales, yeah, we should really look into bringing them back in some fashion at some point.
And I guess there's a question for me here.
Indeed. Kyle, what would be the first thing you do if you were a millionaire?
You can answer this one too, Ian, but...
it was addressed to you. You go first.
I know. I'm just thinking. Because the first thing I would want to do, I'd want to make sure of, is that my friends and family are taken care of first. That's the most important part. Other than that, let's see. Probably find a good condition DeLorean. I don't know. Move to Toronto.
Mm-hmm. You have to be a millionaire for that. Jeez.
At this point, yeah. And I don't know. That's really about it. I'm not an extravagant thinker, I suppose. Just live comfortably and do what I do. What about you?
Pretty much the same thing. First I do is get out of debt.
Yeah.
Put some money away so that I'm comfortable and can use any excess for, helping out other people, help out family, help out friends. If there's anything after that goes into maybe promoting some business side of things, maybe get BumbleKing into an actual thing.
Sure.
Be able to hire people instead of wish I could hire people. And if there's anything left after that, charity.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, that's really it. $1 million is a lot of money,
but you can spend it really fast.
You can spend it fast, and I don't think it goes quite as far as people kind of would think it does.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm like, well, I definitely wouldn't try to burn through it quickly, because you can. It would not be difficult these days, especially. So,
other things to take into account is, at least in the U.S., I don't know about the Canadian tax law, but there is a maximum that you can gift to people before it becomes taxable.
Right.
So you would want to make sure that you don't do that, get them in trouble by being too generous.
Yeah.
But you could probably get away with just paying their bills and get them out of debt.
Right.
And there's another part of me going, well, would it be worth it to give some of it to someone who knows how to invest, how to play the market, so that there would be more money, make your money work for you, insofar as if I could do that, that would be more money I could give away into charity and to helping other people, because I don't really need a lot to get by. That has been something that's been established more out of necessity than desire.
Sure.
But see the aforementioned debt comment. But once you have enough, you don't need any more, and there are plenty of people who need.
Yep.
So part of me feels scummy with saying, okay, I have this money, instead of directly giving it to people, let me use it to make more money. But then again, it's also okay because I'm making more money, so I can give that surplus away to help people. That That's excusable, right? That's morally sound.
The dangers of capitalism.
Danger of wealth in general.
Yeah, yes, but capitalism, wealth comes out of capitalism, so
So the answer for both of us is get out of trouble, help our family and friends get out of trouble, and then do what we can to help everyone get out of trouble.
Splurge a little bit on ourselves, maybe. Just a little bit.
Well, little bit.
A little bit. Alrighty. Well, we're ready to move on into the standard Q&A.
Indeed.
Most of these come from YouTube this week, so thank you, YouTube folks. Raekwon G has a question. Did Shadow, as the ultimate life form, have any resistance to the metal virus? He seemed to touch it and not show any signs of infection for a prolonged period of time compared to the other characters. I'd certainly add some merit to his decision to engage the Zombots directly. Say awesome. And
I will do my best.
It would certainly add some merit, I meant. But anyway, go ahead. Yes, sorry.
But yeah, that was definitely intentional. Shadow, being the ultimate life form, was more resilient against infection. That's why he did last longer.
Aha. Next up, Geo. If IDW started a comic series of Shantae or Gunvolt, would a potential crossover with Sonic work?
I'm not super familiar with either franchise. Shantae, I know a bit about, and sure. Yeah. It's so magical and whimsical. That would be fairly easy. Gunvolt, I don't know much of anything, so I can't really say.
Gunvolt is kind of Mega Man with the serial numbers filed off, so yeah, it could work. It could work. I mean, it's not exactly Mega Man, but there's definitely there's a reason why there's like so many Mega Man-like games with Gunvolt in them. It's because it's Mega Man-esque. So yeah, it can still work.
Not saying it's Mega Man, but it's Mega Man.
Essentially.
I mean, wasn't it by the same team that did Mega Man 0 and ZX?
It's Mega Man 9 and 10, the same team.
Oh.
Those, yeah. It's Inti Creates. So they also did Mighty Number 9 partially. And that's why Beck has appeared in some of the Gunvolt games. And there's like a Mighty Gunvolt. There's actually this crossover spin-off where I think Beck is now handled much better. If you want to play a Mega Man game as Beck from Mighty Number 9, don't play Mighty Number 9. Just play one of the Mighty Gunvolt games. They're really good. They're like, they use the same engine as Mega Man 9 and 10. So they're literally just Mega Man games with different characters in it. They're really good. They're a lot of fun. It's just like obvious where the DNA of the games came from. They
didn't fall too far from the tree.
Yeah, they did. They don't make it to. They don't try and hide it too well, so which is fine. Because if you want more Mega Man, there it is, and I for one I'm into it. I like it, so I think it could work. I think either one of those would work very well. Shantae would be a lot of fun, actually. I could definitely see some fun interactions there. System 509 is up next. Can Whispers Wispin use other wisps besides the ones we've seen it use? I came up with headcanon list a while ago of all the things it could do with the other types of wisps, and I'd love to compare it with the official list, assuming there is one, of course.
No. The variable Wispon is built specifically for those 5 wisps, because that's what the team used. Sonic Forces seems to establish that the Wispons are tailor-made for a specific wisp. So if she were to have something else try to jump into the machine, I don't think it would do anything.
And next up, from Frost the Hobodon, White Lion. If you were to give Ray the Flying Squirrel and Lupe the Wolf an age, what would they be in the post-SGW of Archie?
Ray would be somewhere around Tails' age, and Lupe I would put in her, I don't know, mid to late 20s. Actually, I had that written down somewhere. I don't remember.
In the post reboot?
Yeah.
Lupe was younger than that, and Ray was, I think, 10.
Ray was 10, and Lupe was, what, early 20s?
I don't remember. He had a list.
Yeah. I'm more comfortable saying early 20s at youngest. Well, I know. I can't find the list either, but...
If she's going to be
at this point...
Ray was older than Tails.
Ray was older than Tails, and right now I'm more comfortable saying Lupe was at least younger 20s. At youngest.
Man, if she's going to talk to you, she should come over to the mic where we can actually hear her.
She's busy with something else. She's just interjecting.
Fine. We need to we need a third mic to just put in front of her that she can interject with. That's what we need. We just run a really long cable from wherever you are over to her with her microphone, and then she can just interject whatever. That's what we need. I don't know. Maybe
you guys listening right now, if you want another full-on Q&A episode with Aaliyah Baker, if you want her to just become a regular feature on the show, comment, let us know. We can make it happen.
We can do it. We can do it.
Especially since her episodes are like the highest viewed out of everything on our channel.
Well, I mean, part of it was because she ripped into a certain former writer, but we can do that again.
She just gave an in-depth analytical critique of previous material.
Well, I mean,
there was nothing directed or personal about it at all.
Sure. Twilight Sparkle is asking us questions now. Did you watch My Little Pony Friendship is Magic and MLP Pony Life? If yes, what are your opinions about those shows? I'm very curious to hear it.
I watched a fair bit of season 1, a bit of the final season, and the movie for Friendship is Magic. Haven't seen any of Pony Life that I know of, because that's the one where which is the one where they turn into people?
I don't know.
I am not the guy to talk to about My Little Pony, but I know enough of it to have fun with the Transformers crossover, and that's about the extent of it. Appreciate it for what it is. It could have been much fluffier, but they put some serious effort into building a world and lore and all that. The deep dive I did to do the mini series was exhausting, trying to find a way to make things fit in, and I've retained none of it at this point. So if we do end up doing some kind of sequel, I would have to do all that research again. Oh boy. But it was fun. It was lighthearted. It was funny. The voice acting is top notch. I really dig the design for this incarnation of the ponies. And I really appreciate they tried to do bigger stories with it when they could have done, flash in the pan stuff and be done with it and gotten away with it. So, no, it has a very huge following for a very good reason.
And I have never watched it in any incarnation.
The opening theme song is catchy as all get out, too.
I don't know it. I literally don't even know that.
If you look it up, it's going to be in your head, so be warned.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. That's okay. I have a lot of songs in my head, Ian. Some of them are even real. Next up from Nina Chan. Hello, guys. Hope you're fine. I've got a really simple question for you. What's your favorite character besides Sonic, if he is yours? And why and how do you see Silver and Tails as characters? I really want to know because they're my favorite characters, and they're pretty underrated, and you portray them perfectly in the IDW comics.
Thank you. Now, some of that's already covered on the FAQs, so head over that way. That's bumbleking.com. As for how to approach Tails and Silver as characters, man, that's a big one. Tails is the quintessential foil to Sonic. He is the thoughtful one. He is the analytical one. And he is the burgeoning hero. He still has some growing to do. And Sonic sets a very high bar for him to try to reach.
And he's been kind of playing a straight man role, I suppose, to Sonic's more rambunctious nature. At least lately, it seems like.
I like that he has grown from the starry-eyed sidekick to the dry sass to Sonic's sarcasm.
Yeah.
That the relationship has grown to a point where he's almost a full partner at this point. He's still very reliant on Sonic, overly reliant depending on the game. But I like where that's grown, and I would like to see it grow further so that Tails could finally step out from Sonic's shadow and kind of define himself. Because I think the idea of Sonic and Tails as a duo works for sure, But I think it's time that his character goes beyond just the sidekick. But, if they retain themselves as partners, equal peoples, I want him to go from Robin to Nightwing is what I'm saying, if you get the analogy.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
Silver is, to use the current common parlance, cinnamon roll. He is naive and he is heroic and he wants the best for everyone, but he doesn't necessarily see the forest for the trees half the time.
Yeah.
And he has such tremendous power that it can make him extremely dangerous, but it's also very heartening because for all that extreme power, there's never any egotism in it. There's never any malevolence. He can literally move buildings, and the first and only thought he has about that is to do it for the benefit of others. Now, when he thinks it's because Sonic is some kind of weird time clone and he's trying to smash him with said building, that's not a good thing, but he's doing it for the right reasons, and that's why we love him.
He's trying, So that's really all you can. That's really all you can do sometimes. It's just try,
Yeah,
do your best.
And that's the thing is, he tries. He's innocent and he's pure, and that's just kind of nice.
Yeah,
I guess in that regard, he's like the exact polar opposite of Shadow.
As a counterpart to the two of them, you have Sonic kind of in the middle-ish. Then you have Shadow on the extreme end, and then Silver on the other extreme end. I like it. It makes sense. My favorite characters are Blaze and Nicole, but we've been through that multiple times. Anyway, and your insights into Tails and Silver are more than I could ever come up with, so I'll defer to you. Next up from Sony Nakamura, not to be confused with Sony, a patron who ends his name with I, or Sony, the video game company. Sony Nakamura. I have a simple question. The metal virus. Can you explain what you thought you wouldn't get away with and whatnot? Also, part 2 to it. How far could you go with it before Sega says no? Like a Knuckles say a swear, or is that a bit too far?
Will Knuckles say a swear? Let Knuckles say a swear.
Yes, let him say a swear. Shadow got to say a swear. Let Knuckles say a swear.
He might I think Knuckles might have actually dropped a 4-letter word in that game.
Did he?
It's been a while.
In Shadow the Hedgehog he did? He did?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting word that yes, he did.
Okay.
Well, let Knuckles say another swear.
Out of the entire cast, him I can see easily enough. Not that he's foul-mouthed, it's just he doesn't care.
Yeah.
With Metal Virus, I didn't think any of it will get approved. I thought it might be too dark. I thought they might feel it was out of tone. Having Sonic get infected and have his look changed at all, I thought was going to be a deal breaker. And all of it was approved. And I'm still kind of gobsmacked that we did as much as we did. Almost every story was, okay, this is where they're going to draw the line. This is where I'm going to push it too far. And no, they were very cool with pretty much everything. The only note I got, really in regards to we don't want you to go that far, was at the very end when Cream is fighting Xena. We had a scene where Xena kicked Cream while she was down. And the note back was, please don't directly show violence against a child. So that particular scene had to be staged differently. But the action still remained. And everything else went through. So...
Wow.
The lesson that has been beaten into me with IDW Sonic is pretty much everything that I assumed is out the window. I mean, some stuff, the stuff that makes sense, the standards are, of course, still in play, but a lot of what I thought was completely off the table might just be back. So it's a strange new world, and we're having fun with it.
Kicking Cream, man, that's cold.
Well,
it makes sense. Xena's cold, but still.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a less than stellar opinion collectively over the Deadly Six.
Yeah.
In part because they haven't really been that threatening. So I figured one of the best ways to make sure people absolutely hated Xena was to have her kick Cream. And that did the trick.
Yeah. It's like, whoa, man. That escalated quickly.
If you're going to have villains, let them be villainous.
Yeah, man. Kick the rabbit trope. Jeez. Worse than kick the dog. Next question is from Tick Tick. I've come across an intriguing argument/note recently in that people are noticing that when it comes to new major characters, the males are exclusively villains and the females are exclusively heroes. Earlier you said the reason for heroic female characters was because of the difficulty in using the scant few female characters the franchise has. Were any of the villains ever considered to be female at any point in their development? I know you can't comment on whether we'll get new female villains soon or not, but I'm sure there's an interesting development background story on choosing gender for villains like there is when choosing heroes.
It wasn't a conscious decision for that division, and when it was pointed out, I'm like,
Whoops.
Yeah. Not that there's a ton of new villains or new characters in general. We have kept it pretty low, at least in comparison to the Archie books. But once Evan introduced the couple in her book, it's like, we have established a pattern now, haven't we? Which isn't a knock against Evan. That's just how things worked out. I don't think there wasn't a dedicated effort to say, okay, we're doing this with the females and this with the males. It's just, that's how it happened to fall out. With that in mind, though, I am taking that into account for near future-ish type things. # known smile.
I would like to see a villain like Breezy again. I'm just putting that out there. Doesn't have to be exactly Breezy, obviously. I mean, I think that ship has kind of sailed, but, something like that.
We don't really have a lot of female villains in Sonic, period.
Right.
You know?
Right, exactly.
And what very few we've had are kind of removed. Like, Merlina was very end bossy. She's not someone you're going to see as a reoccurring villain. Her story was told. She was the big end boss Dark Queen thing. And that's fine. She was great. She was phenomenal. Xena's more of a henchman type. She's not a top billing villain.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
And Iron Queen was also kind of that standoff villainess. She used others to enact her means. She wasn't a down and dirty fighter. So if we were to introduce a female villain, I would want to have someone who could be on the ground level with Sonic and the rest of the heroes. Not another rule from the top, Eggman, Iron Queen, witch cart type. I want someone who can actually be down there, get down and dirty, actually fight, and be part of the mix. Because we really haven't seen that. The closest we've gotten is Rouge, and she's a dark type. She's not an evil type.
Yeah.
You get me?
Right. Yep. I'd say Leon Da is probably the closest if we're looking at like pre-existing characters.
But she got reinvented so many times in the course of her arc.
Yeah.
Between various writers, it's kind of hard to define her. It's kind of, you got to look at what part of the story was she in.
Yeah. I mean, hey, whatever, man. You do you, man. Make the book. Just make it good.
That, and I also would want a female villain who is a villain. None of this, they're going to be redeemed and be a new rival or, reticent friend off to the side, a frenemy. No. Let's have an actual female villain. Ladies, you can be just as bad as the boys, so let's have at least one character who shows that,
Yeah. Next up, from Banky Bank. In the Archie reboot championship arc, Grounder's job description concisely states he does casino stuff. Did you ever happen to come up with any other specific things he would have done for the casino, if you can recall them? Or did you not have anything specific in mind for him yet and figured he'd just be the odd jobs guy? Or like the literal odd job guy, maybe, because he's short. Because he's short, Get it? Anyway, go ahead. Hey.
I figured he would be just kind of there. Like, he's got the multi-arm thing. He's not a particularly bright or driven individual. The caption was more along the lines of, he's on the staff. He does stuff. He's here. He tries. Bless his little mechanical heart.
Oh, Grounder. Even after 20 years, you're just not treated with any dang respect. And that's okay. You're not supposed to be. Diane W. Diane W. has our last question of this episode. What are your overall thoughts on Puella, Magica, Magi, Madoka, Magica? I'm sure I completely slaughtered that pronunciation of that. And who is your favorite characters and why? So I will answer this first just to say I don't know, because I know nothing about it. I don't even know how to pronounce the name. So, Ian, do you know anything about this? I believe it's an anime and
yes.
or a manga.
Yes.
And a manga. Anyway, yeah, go ahead.
I have not experienced the full range of the series. I only saw the original anime, and I only went through it once because I think I can only do it once. I don't know how much of this reference is going to work for you, Kyle, but Magica Madoka is more or less the Evangelion of Sailor Sentai animes.
Okay, I kind of understand that.
It has all the trappings of your Sailor Sentai, the transformation sequences, the adorable animal companion, the magical MacGuffin that allows you to transform into your pretty little superhero outfit. And then it turns it all on its head.
Oh.
And it gets real dark. And it gets really in your head. The art direction. Like first off, I'm going to say none of the characters in particular stole the show for me, because the whole thing is the show for me. It isn't about the one particular character for me. It's the entire experience. Because what each character goes through and each truth that is revealed and each horrible, horrible thing that happens is part of a greater whole. And it should be watched just for the art direction alone. Because the psychedelic, nightmarish witch scenarios are fascinating. They kind of border on that line of super pretentious student film, except they are done with such meticulous craftsmanship that you can tell that they're trying to say something with each scene, with each moment, with each unsettling piece of visual. It's really hard to describe without visual aids, Kyle. It's not a very long series, so I would definitely recommend binging it at some point. Just block out an hour or two afterwards to decompress, because it is not a gentle show, and it is in a good way. Like, it really messes with you, but you come away from it going, I feel like my third eye has been opened. I've been awakened in some fashion. It is messed up. I know it's like an OVA or a movie that's kind of a reboot sequel type of thing that, from what I've heard, I'm not sure I like how they play with the core narrative, because the core narrative is so well told that I kind of don't want anything else to come from it. You know, they did it right the first time. Don't mess with it. We don't need spinoffs. We don't need sequels. We don't need reimaginings. Just let it exist as this one perfect, horrible pearl. It's if you go into it thinking, oh, here's another pretty little Sailor Scout anime, it's gonna sucker punch you, and you're gonna go, what am I watching? Part of it is I don't want to spoil that experience, because you go in thinking, okay, is this going to be bog standard? And no, it is very much not. So I don't know. It's a good show. It's worth going through at least once. I don't want to go through it again because I know what'll happen, but it was a heck of a trip.
Guess I should probably watch Evangelion too at some point, huh? I've never seen it.
I would say, and this is like, I'm not super huge into Evangelion myself. I would say the original series and then the follow-up movie, and then leave it at that. I have not been a fan of the remix stuff that they're doing right now.
Well, I'm mostly referring to the original stuff, not the new.
Yeah, the original stuff is, I don't want to go through. I don't know. Here's the thing with Evangelion, and granted, this comes from very different points of my life, so my perspective will have definitely shifted between them. But with Evangelion, it told a very unsettling story, and I don't want to go through it again because I don't like how it made me feel at the end, especially with the movie that gives you kind of the alternate take on the ending, which almost seems more spiteful somehow and more unsettling in its own way. Magical Madoka is... I do recommend it because while I don't like how it made me feel by the end and I was still unsettled, the experience I felt was more interesting. Evangelion is just straight up harsh. It's interesting, but it's uncomfortable in a way that I really wouldn't want to experience again. Magical Madoka is uncomfortable, but it's a fascinating experience.
Well,
Magica. That is my personal take. Your mileage is going to vary wildly, I'm sure. It's kind of like a roller coaster. I don't like roller coasters. I have been on a few. I would ride Space Mountain again because while I really hate roller coasters, that was a neat experience. I wouldn't ride any others because I don't like roller coasters.
I love roller coasters, so who knows?
Who knows?
Maybe I'll hate it. Maybe I'll love it. I don't know. Yeah, roller coasters are fun. I hated them as a kid because as a kid I was scared of everything, but as I got older, you know, I like roller coasters. They're fun. Space Mountain is wimpy.
Maybe that's why I like it.
It is. The Space Mountain is, as a roller coaster, just as a straight up, just any comparison to other roller coasters, it's not amazing. It's not great. It's not fantastic. It's just another indoor kiddie style roller coaster for the most part. But I think a lot of it comes down to the fact that you can't see where you're going, and it has some really cool effects and the music and everything.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So it makes it a different experience from other roller coasters. So if you take it as just a roller coaster, like if you ride around it with the lights on, which I've seen, it's just a very bog standard, boring thing. It's nothing special, but it's that little twist of it being in the dark and everything around it that just makes it more of a cool experience. It brings it beyond just being a standard fare roller coaster. So anyway, this is completely off topic. And we're at the end of the show, so
we are. It's time to say thank you to all the patrons who make this show possible every single week. Big thank you to Jay Frost, Piggy Bank, Daniel B, Somewhat Gooey, Rachel W, Godzilla, Invade Turbo Tunis, Chaos Universe, Sonic Legacy, Lauren W, Off, Jonathan D, Jennifer H, Sony, Owen BD, Preston M, Salute Your Cat, Blue Title Gamer, Koopling Crew 128, Yummy M, Andrew D, Digamma F Wow, Final Neil, Tick Tick, Justin S, Papadripadopoulos, Silly String, Takaro, Overthinking Films, Lisa M, Torchbound, Scruffymatt, Lee HK, Dawn B, Chevelle, Chris A, Duiz Dizdin, John B, John M, Jennifer R, Mike B, Samuel P, Robotnik Holmes, Daniel H, Alex P, Justin G, Dave M, James K, and Sam Cybercat.
Thank you, everybody, for your support. We appreciate you. We like it. We like it a lot. Thank you. Where can people find you on the internet, Ian?
You can find me on Twitter at IanFlynnBKC. Head over to my personal website, bumbleking.com, and read my free webcomic, Drogoon. That's DROGUNE.com. Its first birthday is coming up next month. 1 year of Drogoon goodness.
Whee!
And in celebration, it will continue to be free. Haha. Can't say I never got you anything. Kyle, what about you?
I am Kyle JCRB on Twitter. And you can also head on over to my website, kngi.org. You can find archived episodes of the BumbleKast there in downloadable MP3 format. And you can also listen to my other show, Nitro Game Injection, which you can listen to streaming live on Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. That show's all about video game music arrangements, remixes, covers, all the fan-made stuff that people make. and other cool video game music related things. So be sure to tune in and check that out if you're interested. There's also the 24/7 stream that plays video game music remixes and stuff all the time. So head on over to kngi.org and find out all about it.
You can follow and contact the show on Twitter at BumbleKast, via email at BumbleKast@yahoo.com. Listen to us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, our own YouTube channel, and kngi.org.
Don't forget to also check out the Bumble store, shop.spreadshirt.com/BumbleStore, where we have Bumble gear available that you can adorn yourself and your abode in somewhat. I think there's some things you can buy over there for your house. Or
possibly a pillow.
Maybe. A nice BumbleKast pillow. Sounds
so you
good.
can BumbleKast it across the room if you so desire. Get a mug to drink your Bumble coffee with.
Bumble coffee.
And you can watch us with BumbleKast Gaming Live, which streams on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/BumbleKast Gaming. Sundays at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and sporadically throughout the week.
Oh, boy. And next week is Halloween week, Ian. What are we going to do?
Yeah.
What are we going to do? It's going to be scary. I'm scared.
I don't know. If somebody wants a novelty episode where I speak the entire thing like a bad Dracula accent, comment below. I will do it. I have no shame.
Stop you.
You can try. The lady of the house doesn't want me to do that. If you want me to annoy Aaliyah, make sure to vote below. Comment in the sections and let us know.
Let's see.
Oh, I'm going to be sad if the mic didn't pick that up.
I didn't hear it, but I
She
mean, I
said,
heard she said,
"Monster, you don't belong in this world."
All right, I'm going to see if I can edit it to get that loud enough. Let's see. I'll just be the Wolfman, I guess. That's how I'll talk the whole episode, so the questions won't make any sense. Be like,
Bad Dracula and bad Scooby-Doo. Oh, what an episode it shall be.
Okay. Well, sure. Why not?
I
don't know how the Wolfman talks.
We need to put this sucker down.
Yeah, I think so. It's outlived its welcome, I think.
We'll see you next week. Thanks for listening, and thanks for your support, everybody.
Bye, guys. Quiet?
As in no background noise, or
Yeah.
Isn't that the ideal?
That is ideal, yes. It's just kind of weird.
What's going on? Things are working.
Yeah, that's the confusing part.
Maybe the week finally decided to let up.
Oh, maybe.
Because I need to go figure out what we're doing for noise.
You need to go figure out what you're doing for noise, yeah.
Do for dinner.
Go figure out what you're doing for noise, and I'm going to go do sound. I'm going to go scream into the void. Why not? You've been listening to the BumbleKast, a co-production of Bumble King Comics and the KNGI Network. Original theme music composed by Ken Coda Snyder. Remixed intro by T-Lopes. Find out more information, along with podcast feeder links, MP3 downloads, and more at bumbleking.com and kngi.org. Scruffymatt says we should play Among Us.
We should.
There's a lot of things we should do. We had ideas. We had these grand ideas, and then life happened.
Yeah, I still really want to co-pilot in
in Flight Simulator.
Yeah, I really want to do Return of the Pesky Devil.
I'm really tempted to. You're gonna freak out when I get like 2 inches close to rocks on the sides of the canyon, or actually hit them. You're gonna freak out, and it's gonna be glorious. I'm half tempted to actually let you also be able to control things. Mm-hmm. I can give you control through the keyboard at least, so you can, so the freak out can be real. You'll need to look up the key controls because there's a lot, but you know.
Screaming
Just
down
have-
the canyon at 100 clicks. Pesky devil in my head telling me closer. Closer, shave the rocks with the edge of the wing, and I almost do, but I reject you, pesky devil. I'll bring this plane in for a landing, and you cannot stop me. Okay.
And
sure,
meanwhile,
whatever.
I'll be there the whole time, like, oh, watch out! Oh, crap! Here we go.
Screaming in my ear, giving me commands, but I will not give in to the pesky devil. And pull up! And then one more, I'm just trolling you with every now and again, like changing your display to like rear view third person.
No. Good. Oh boy, yeah, it would be dead instantly.